I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
My apologies about that. All right, so welcome everyone. We are now on day 4 of our blueprint, our student affairs virtual information fair. We want to thank everybody for joining us this week. We see a lot of repeat or returning attendees as well as some new names. So we hope that you all are benefiting from this information that we are sharing today. As always, this week we have been giving out the essential information from Hampton University outside of classes so that you can build a successful HU experience. This event this week has been open to parents as well as students. And on today, this particular session, we're going to talk about some of the legal and code of conduct concerns that we have on our campus, just so that you know where the departments are, as well as how we handle things here on Hampton's campus. Once our presenters are finished, then we will always open up for a small moment of Q&A. But after them, we are also joined by Lieutenant Michael Stewart of the Hampton University Police Department. All right, so just go ahead and get started. Are you all ready? I'm ready. All right, so everyone, we have the pleasure today to be joined with our Dean of Students, Mr. Aleczander Whitfield of the Office of Judicial Affairs, and a newcomer to the Hampton University family, Mr. Shalom Steward. He is our coordinator of student conduct here at Hampton University. Yes. All right. So, okay, fellow colleagues, let's go ahead and get started. Could you all explain to us what is the code of conduct policy here, and how does that affect judicial affairs? Or where's judicial affairs and the code of conduct?
Great question. And so, again, welcome everyone to the session today. So the Office of Judicial Affairs is located on the 2nd floor of the Student Center. And that's where Mr. Stewart and I reside there. And the office actually is responsible for encouraging students to comply with the student code of conduct. The student code of conduct actually includes the dress code, behavior, etc. And we do have to understand that it's a process that we have high expectations of students. And so we want to make sure that those expectations are met. And we outline those expectations in the student code of conduct. Again, dress code, other behavioral things, and then also in the classroom as well. And so we want to make sure, again, students understand what we expect of them, and we can meet them. We can encourage them. And one of the jobs that Mr. Stewart has is to educate students and do a lot more outreach to make sure that everyone understands the expectations and they have questions and support them.
Okay. So briefly, can we let's talk about this is Hampton. Yeah. We have some standards here. So one key thing that you mentioned in your statement was dress code.
Yes.
So how do we handle dress code? Like, are students able to wear their pajamas, do-rags, sweatsuits, and things to bonnet caps on rainy days? Are we able to dress like that here at
Hampton? The easy and quick answer is no.
Okay.
But the reality of it is, it's the dress code is event appropriate, right? Mm-hmm. And so if you're going to Ogden, for example, when I grew here, I'm an older 8. Shout out to all my friends. And so we had particular events that we would have to go to, and there was a dress code associated with that event. And the same thing is now. And so when students go to Ogden, they have to be dressed appropriately. When they go to chapel, dress appropriately. But that same dress does not always have to be in the student center during the 12 to 2 or something like that, or even Howard. And so we want to make sure students understand the dress code is not the same in Holland as it is in the classroom. Okay. So you wouldn't wear normally you wouldn't wear a bonnet outside. Some people do. I don't wear a bonnet. But at the same time, you wouldn't wear your pajamas, from home out in the street. So we want to make sure we encourage that. We want to make sure we, have that expectation of students. Want to add anything?
Sure, yeah. So, more specifically, we want to make sure that we keep that in mind to just once again dress appropriately. I think that it says a lot when you're thinking about your college experience. I think that the college experience is supposed to be transformative in such a way that it allows one to transcend who one is when they come into college and going out into the real world. So in the real world, yes, no, you can't wear. You don't see people going to work wearing bonnets, right? I know Monique is she's all over that right now. But it's really I want that our students to take that into consideration. That while it may be frustrating, you may say, "Why I gotta do that?" The whole point is for us to learn not only in the classroom but also through our application, going through our day-to-day career here at Hampton.
So what are some things that can cause a student to have to visit the Office of Judicial Affairs?
Very good question. So a couple things. If there is an infraction or a violation of student code of conduct. Now, student code of conduct is 9 tenets, right? Or 9 points. And I encourage everybody to take an opportunity to read it for yourself. All students will get a copy of the student code of conduct digitally, PDF file. I encourage you to share it with your parents as well. And it has a lot more resource information besides just the code of conduct. And so a couple of things. It's really 2 things that preclude a person from attendance at Hampton University. One is weapons. Our goal here is to have a safe and secure campus. And a student with weapons, no matter their intent, right? And so a weapon could include mace. I've had a situation, I'm gonna tell you this quick story. It's not funny. It's not funny. It's not funny. But it is kind of strange. So student had mace, right? And it was 2 young ladies, and they had mace. And one young lady said, "I wonder how it tastes." And she sprayed the other young lady with mace in her face. And she learned how it tasted. Now, that's very dangerous. Fortunately, she didn't have any negative reaction. She didn't have to go to the hospital. We did end up getting that report. But those type of things, even though the intent is to provide you personal safety, it could lead to an infraction.
Okay. So if someone does get in trouble with the Office of Judicial Affairs or an infraction, does it go on their record, or is there like a record reported or on file?
That's a very good question. So we do what are called social clearances, right? And so students who are interested in joining organizations during their matriculation at Hampton University, they want to make sure they understand if they violate the code of conduct, for example, an alcohol violation, right? If you're under 21 and you go and you get this alcohol violation, that could, depending on the circumstances, preclude you from joining any particular organization that you're interested in, because you're now in violation of student code of conduct. But the other thing is, if when you graduate, we do get reports from the FBI, top secret clearance, any type of offices, federal government, they'll come by and they will ask, does this person have a file? And then we don't share the information of what happened, but we do explain, yes, they do have a file, and it's up to them if they want more information or not.
Okay. All right. So there's no file. So then you have an infraction. So can either one of you explain to us about the hearing process, and if a student feels as though they were falsely accused or wishes to appeal, how does that look for the student? What are their rights to a fair trial?
So succinctly, right? If we have a student, for example, they end up having an alcohol violation, right? And so we would investigate. First step is investigation. Communicate to the student, give them an opportunity to explain what happened, right? Like really, we want all the information to find out what occurred. And we don't communicate directly with the parent because this is a student issue. And then also we have to adhere to FERPA, as well, Family Equal Rights Protection Act. Okay. And so we have the investigation with the student. We ask any student that was involved in that particular situation. And if the student accepts responsibility, then we say, okay, great, we'll go from there. If they would like to have a hearing, right, that can go to a hearing, and then we would sit down, they would call witnesses, things like that. Now, if a student is removed from campus or suspended, then it automatically goes to a hearing. And so that hearing, again, they can have character witnesses, witnesses to the event, HUPD is there, and we get a very good understanding of what happens. Myself, Mr. Stewart, and then another individual would sit on that panel, and we would hear all the information. The most important thing here is that our process is an administrative process. Okay. This is not a court of law, not at all, not at all. This is an administrative process.
All right. So I know Dean Whitfield, earlier this week, a parent did ask a question during another session. So now we're going to get into.
Okay, get into it.
Because it was an honest question that she wanted answered, and I hope that parent is on the line today. But let's talk about is this campus a dry campus? Is marijuana, smoking, and alcohol and weapons? I know you talked about weapons earlier as an infraction, but let's talk about the drug and alcohol use on campus. How does Hampton handle those situations?
Okay, you can take alcohol.
I'll take it.
Okay, you don't take alcohol.
No,
Okay, go.
you can go with alcohol.
So alcohol is prohibited.
Okay.
Can't drink alcohol here on campus. Now, question becomes, well, I'm 21. I'm legally able to drink. My advice would be, there's an old saying, when you're wrong, you want to do it right. And so what I'm getting at with that, saying that, is that even though by law and with the Commonwealth of Virginia, state law, yes, you're able to drink. However, because Hampton is a private institution, you have to abide by the code of conduct, which prohibits drinking liquor, wine, beer, whatever your taste is.
Because it's a dry campus.
It's a dry campus.
And so with the consumption of marijuana, it is a zero tolerance policy, meaning that if a student is caught with marijuana with the intent for distribution, a large amount, etc., then that could cause a person to need to leave campus with that CTE. And then in the hearing, we'll be able to kind of sort through that. So alcohol and drugs are not allowed.
All right. So, and I know Lieutenant Stewart's going to come on later speaking about the police department aspect of this. But as far as regulating on our campus, how will the curfew affect us this fall 21? Do we have a curfew?
Some people do.
Okay.
Yes.
So can you explain who is still abide by the curfew?
So there is a curfew for first year students. So freshmen, you all do have a curfew. That curfew is very purposeful. It's not meant to be punitive. It's not meant to inhibit your engagement to campus. It's really, provide you an opportunity to regain your focus, right? So this is the first time that for some, this is the first time you've been away from home. For others, this is the first time, in a year that you've been able to even leave the house, right? And so it's really important that we allow you, we help you, we partner with you to give you some parameters so your genius can be protected, right? So it's very important that, yes, you have a cutoff time. That's the old saying, anything that happens after 2 o'clock shouldn't be happening, right? And so, AM, and so we want to make sure that we give you the opportunity to engage your community, regain your focus, understand what you should and should not do. And that usually happens for the first 6 to 8 weeks of the academic year for new students, right? Now, for other students, there may be, we may institute a curfew, kind of depends on what happens on campus. There have been situations where it was an emergency, we had to institute something like that in conjunction with HUPD, but that very rarely happens. But mainly the curfew is for students.
All right. So we do have a lot of students, obviously, that are coming away from home. This will be their first time away.
Yes.
Curfew for first year students. what if something happens and they get into a situation off campus? How does that affect the students on campus? Or how does it affect them with the university if they get in trouble in a setting that is off campus?
And so Hampton University, we expect students to exhibit behavior indicative of a Hampton University student on and off campus.
Okay.
So that doesn't mean that you can, just because you're at Norfolk State, that you can say, oh, they're not going to find out. The dean of students will call me and say, oh, or HUPD and say, oh, we have, or not HUPD, NSUPD will call HUPD, and then HUPD will call me and provide that report, because they'll say, hey, we have your student here who was involved in whatever it may be. What would you like us to do? And that actually helps students a lot of times more than you realize. The local area police will actually call us first, allow our staff, certified police officers, to take over that case if something happens. It depends on the circumstance, of course, but they will, say, hey, this person is from your jurisdiction. Would you like to handle it? And then we can be able to support the student, as opposed to saying you're out in the street on your own. But also, again, even if a person is in, Alaska, and we get a report, we get a report. We could get a report, and then we have to follow up. So yes, on and on.
All right. So previously, earlier when a few weeks ago, we were dealing with some pre-college students, and some questions came up. So if you all don't mind, I'm going to ask you these questions before we open up to live questions. Okay.
Okay.
So the first question a student asked is, if I am suspected for having drugs and alcohol in my room, are campus police allowed to investigate my room without my permission?
The answer is yes.
Okay.
And it's not an easy answer, because we do respect the privacy of the student. We absolutely do. But we have what is called health, safety, and welfare inspections, and then a welfare check, right? And so health, safety, and welfare inspections are two types, in that some are announced and some are called upon, as detailed in the handbook, by me or the vice president. If we feel as though there is a danger to the community, we will ask the HUPD and coordinate with them to investigate. And in that investigation, we could go to that room and investigate that situation.
Okay. The next, no. Okay. The next question is, can I violate the HU code of conduct using my own private social media accounts, such as TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter? Can they get in trouble if they're found to be doing something like talking about students, faculty, another professional, on their own personal social media account?
Absolutely. Give you an example. Someone actually was talking about staff and faculty here. And so that person was caught, got in trouble. Now, you have to understand, and this is something that I'm big on, and I want every student to learn, and hopefully I will have the opportunity where I can share this with you, is forth thinking, something like that, forth thinking and intentionality. And what I mean by that is just considering, once again, everything you do here in Hampton is to prepare you for the real world. You're in the real world and you write things on the job, on Facebook. Sometimes people will catch you, and that could cause you to lose your job. And so consider it as training. You're training for the real world. Just like you're studying and you're training your mind for psychology or in communications or nursing, whatever. Same thing applies to your daily, everyday life outside of the classroom. It's all about representation and upholding, once again, the code of conduct, respect, professionalism, integrity, and community.
All right. One more.
Okay.
Is it true that bullying can occur in college? If so, what are the consequences of being bullied or bullying, whether it's ended in fighting or not?
Bullying is, yes, the answer is yes, it can occur. And it is not tolerated at all. One thing we have to do is protect each other. And when we don't protect each other, when we allow someone to intimidate, terrorize, bully someone because of who they just are, their opinions. And, you know, we are way past that immature stage, and anyone who decides to engage in that type of behavior will be handled appropriately.
Okay. And last question. Does the code of conduct safeguard gender equality, sexual identity, differing political views, and or religious beliefs and practices?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And that's where I would encourage everyone to read it. And then really, you know, the code of conduct is built to build community. That's the point.
Keep in mind the core values. I said it before: respect, integrity, professionalism, and community. Keep that in mind. That will guide you along the way on not violating the code of conduct. And so, yeah, you have to keep that. You have to always keep that in mind, and it'll keep you on the straight and narrow. Keep it up.
All right, thank you all. So right now, if you all don't mind, we're going to open up the panel to our guests so that they can ask some live questions. So here's your chance. I know you all have been listening to both of these professionals in the Office of Judicial Affairs, but please go ahead and raise your hand and I will allow some live questions. And we already see one. Layla Elam.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes, welcome. How are you?
Good. How are you guys?
I'm all right.
My question is, does Hampton University Police have internships?
Hampton University, did you say police?
Yes.
That's in a few minutes, we're going to switch over to Lieutenant Stewart from the Hampton University Police Department. If you don't mind, can you stay on and ask him that question?
Yes.
Okay. That was your only question?
Yes.
All right, just bear with us 1 second, but that's a good question. Shakisha Jones.
Good evening. My question is around the parents being contacted if their child is in some type of trouble. Are you not contacting parents because the students are supposedly 18 or over, or because you are holding them specifically accountable? Because my son is coming in the fall, but he's only 17. So I'm wondering if, I don't think he will get in trouble, but in the event that you do end up knowing his name, would you contact me because he's under 18, or is it strictly a situation between you guys and the student?
Well, that's a great question. Is it Jones?
Yes, Shakisha.
All right. And so the great question, because, you know, we are in partnership. You know, this is not an exclusive, you know, kind of, we'll just only for the students. We really want to make sure that parents, family members, you know, those who are close to the student that can support the student understands the expectations we have of the student. The key point, though, is legally, we are bound by the Family Equal Rights Protection Act, which is FERPA for short. And so what that means in short is any enrolled student, they have to sign a waiver to be able to, for any staff member to communicate with that parent or that guardian, whoever other than that student. But there is one exception, and that exception is health and safety. And so if a person is in violation and you know, the circumstances show that, you know, we were concerned about that person's health and safety, then yes, we do communicate with parents specifically in regards to the violation that occurred. Now, as we go through the process, we may not communicate with the parent, right? And so what that means is at the conclusion, right, the parent will get a copy of that letter, CC the copy of that letter, mailed to the house. The student will get a copy of the letter, and that's how the parent usually finds out. But I encourage students, make sure that and I always tell students this, if you are in a situation that you feel as though could land you in the office, call us first, communicate early. Don't communicate late let me know early so I can be able to assist you, guide you, console you, give you some better information that your friends are giving you. Because in that particular situation, we don't want you to violate student code of conduct. We want to encourage you. We want to stay. We want to partner with you. And so, yes, we do.
All right, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Ms. Scott.
Yes, to piggyback on Ms. Jones's question in regards to, I guess the notification, you said like I guess the notification will be sent to the parent, as to their home. How long would, like if my daughter was to, like Ms. Jones said, I hope she doesn't never have to come to your office, but if heaven forbid she does, how long would it be before I get notification of something has went awry and she has to come to your office?
We really try to wrap up an investigation within 72 hours. We really try to wrap up an investigation.
Okay.
But then it depends on a few circumstances that could occur. So after the incident occurs, we'll wrap it up as best as we can, and then a parent may not get notified until that following week. I really don't like to set a specific timeline because there's a lot of factors within that.
And your notification is only through mail. It's not electronically. Is that legally? That's why you do it through mail?
Yes, ma'am. Correct.
Okay. And you said by filling out that form, because I have other kids where I've had them fill out the form so I can contact the school in regards to finances, stuff of that nature. But you're saying that form will not cover me notifying of any issue if she has to come to your department, correct?
It does actually. So, and I believe that form is located in housed in the registrar's office.
Okay.
You can be able to, and if not, I'll find that out for you. So if you want to send me an email specifically, then I'll be able to provide that information for you and give you the specific office that FERPA form resides. But yes, if you have that FERPA form, that does cover, across campus, including our offices.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Roger Humphreys.
Yes, Roger Humphreys' daughter is Jazz Humphreys. She'll be a freshman.
I'm not a fan of mixed bow ties. I like.
Excuse me, that's not me. However, wanted to ask a quick, just point of clarification. For my daughter Jazz Humphreys, that little keychain based personal mace that I purchased for her, she should not bring that to campus and have that available.
Correct.
Okay.
Please,
So,
please do not bring that to campus.
okay, so I trust that you all will have my daughter in your hands. Thank you.
Yes, yes. I have 3 daughters, so I absolutely know what you mean.
Greatly appreciate it.
All right. Ms. Martin.
Thank you very much for this information. So I don't have any specific questions. My son is at work, so I'm going to make sure he sees these recordings, but I cannot find them on YouTube. So I know you said you've shared where they are, and I have searched under, I think, Student Affairs, and I can't find a channel. So
if you go on YouTube, at the top in the search engine, type HU Student Affairs. But the direct link, you can, somebody's putting it in the chat right now. I did a tiny URL, but it's www.tinyurl.com/HU Student Affairs, and all the videos should pop up there.
all right, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Hi, Dean Whitfield.
How you doing, Ms. Martin?
I'm really good.
All right. See you in a couple months.
I will see you in a month or so.
All right, Ms. Scott, you're back.
Yeah, I had a quick question. Mr. Humphreys had asked about daughter not being allowed to bring the mace. Like I was in like the local Office Depot and I noticed at checkout that they had this little thing that went on the keychain. It wasn't mace, it wasn't a taser, but when you pulled it, it made like a screeching sound or whatever. Am I allowed to purchase that for her, like so she can have if she's walking across campus at night from the library or something? Or is that considered, would that get her in the judicial department as well?
Well, no, not at all. Because
Okay.
that's not a weapon. That's more of a preventative.
Okay. All right.
Uh,
All right. Thank you.
Get people away from you. So yeah, that actually would be.
All right, thank you. All right, I see no more questions. And right now we're gonna bring on Lieutenant Steward. So he'll talk about some of our safety measures that we have on campus because we do have emergency call boxes and other things on campus that he will explain those questions. So I do want to thank you all as we transition to the next presentation. But please stick around background just in case you have any
And just
questions.
last point, if you have any questions about how we can support your student, please give us an email, send us an email at judicialaffairs@hamptonu.edu.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all so much. All right, everyone. Thank you for being so patient and hanging in there with us. Right now, we are joined by Lieutenant Michael Stewart. He is employee here at Hampton with the Hampton University Police Department. So Mike Stewart, say hello to our public.
Hello, everyone. Hope you all are doing well this evening.
All right. So the police department has been contacted previously. You all always put out such great FAQs on the internet, as well as during the annual school year, you hold parent student sessions.
Yes.
So now we're just going to go over some of the FAQs that most parents and students always have concern with, as well as please share with them first just your basic office information, how the HUPD operates, as well as office hours and on-call system.
All right. Well, Hampton University Police Department is a full-service police department on the campus of Hampton University. We are actually located in the rear of the Whitfield Barn building. We are open 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, 66 for the year. So when the students go home for breaks, we are still here protecting the campus properties and personal effects. And we are fully sworn police officers in that we do go through a state regulated police training program that every law enforcement officer in the Commonwealth must go through in order to have full arrest powers. We receive our arrest powers through the Commonwealth of Virginia. And so upon graduation from Police Academy, we go before the clerk of courts and we take an oath of service, and we are duly empowered to enforce all Virginia laws and statutes.
All right. So are the officers armed or unarmed?
Now, our police officers are armed. We certify every year with our firearms, and that is regulated by the Department of Criminal Justice Services that mandates that we must certify each year with our firearms to be able to carry. We also have contracted security that are not employed by the university, but they are contracted to assist us, and they are armed. That would be Top Guard security. And we also have our own Hampton University security force. However, they are unarmed.
Okay. All right. So as you just heard in the previous session, parents concerned about safety of their daughters or their student by using mace. Could you, and I mentioned the call boxes, could you please explain to the parents about the blue call boxes and alert systems that we have?
Yes, we currently have a total of 31 emergency blue light call boxes throughout the campus. They are strategically placed along what we know to be commonly traveled footpaths. And they are there for alerting us to suspicious activity or emergency situations that you might come upon. By activating an emergency call box, it is a direct line of communications to our communications center. Now, of course, if you are in a situation where you're being chased, we don't want you to stay at that emergency call box while the dispatch is trying to get your information. We ask that you continue to move along. You will come upon another call box, activate that one as well. That shows us a path of travel so that when we dispatch our mobile units, we have a good idea of your location and it helps us to expeditiously get to you.
Okay. And so I know we use it here on our phones here at work, but talk about the Live Safe app, the mobile app that students and I believe parents can also download and be alerted.
Absolutely. If you have an iPhone, of course, you can go to your Apple store and you would just simply search for Live Safe mobile app. If you have an Android, like I am privy to, you can go to your Google Play Store and again, Live Safe mobile app. Now, the Live Safe mobile app is my favorite, and it's my favorite because of its functionality. It is, again, real-time two-way communication with our police department communications center. It can be used in a variety of ways, not only to report criminal activity or suspicious behaviors, but you can use it to commend someone as well. And the beauty of the Live Safe mobile app is that it allows for you to select from either sharing information with us anonymously, or you can self-identify. Okay. You can also take a picture, a still picture, you can video record, or you can audio record an event. What I like about that is you don't have to stay there where the event is taking place. As I say, you can hit it and go.
Okay. All right. So, and when we talk about announcement and things like that, now I know we do have an alert system. Could you explain to them about our updated alerting system so that how we're notified of crimes and suspicious activity?
Absolutely. We have a system that we have called the Pirate Notification System. It is actually provided to us by Everbridge. And the way that system works is whenever there is inclement weather or there is a natural disaster or there is some type of event that poses a safety concern for the community at large, we will alert you via the Pirate Notification System. So we do ask that every student registers their best contact information in that system. The system will continue to try to reach you and it attempts to get an acknowledgement from you that you've received that alert. Those alerts, when they go out, it goes through a process of first determining whether or not this is something we need to alert the entire community or we just need to alert a segment of the community.
Okay. So Dean Whitfield had already previously talked about, how the fractions with the code of conduct. So now you all often work together.
Yes.
The HUPD with Judicial Affairs. And so here are some concerns from some of the students that we always mention. Does a student have to present their HUID to HUPD officers or security officers when asked?
That's a very good question. I get that one often. Why do I have to show my ID? Well, first of all, the identification card that you are issued is the property of the university. And on the back of that ID card, it clearly states that when asked by any official of the university to present that ID card, you are required to do so, to include Hampton University Police and Security. So yes, in a nutshell, when asked, you should present that identification.
All right. So you already talked about Live Safe app and that protocol of being able to report crimes anonymously. Are students able to call or go into the police station and report things and still remain anonymous?
Absolutely. You can either place a phone call and simply state that you wish to anonymously report something.
Okay.
Now, if you go into our police headquarters in person, then you can simply request that the responding officer that will take your report try to keep it confidential as to who is sharing the information, and we will honor that.
All right. So one of a lot of the concerns that the Student Government Association has really been working with Title IX on is sexual assault, date rape, physical abuse, anything like that. Who should they report any type of sexual assault, domestic violence, dating violence, stalking, or intimidation incidents?
Now, of course, we would want everyone to report criminal behaviors of all sorts to Hampton University Police, but that doesn't always happen, and that's fine. For those types of offenses that are sexual assault offenses, whether it's domestic violence, dating violence, or even intimidation and stalking, you can report those incidents directly to the Title IX office.
So previously we talked about the infractions of being a dry campus and drinking in public intoxication. Can HUPD arrest a student for underage drinking or public intoxication?
That's going to be a yes. We certainly can, according to Virginia Code 4.1-305, which addresses underage drinking as well as the possession and transporting of alcoholic beverages by a minor. We certainly can arrest if one is found to have alcohol in their possession, or if they are drunk in public, we can arrest them. Now, most cases, we try to work with our students, and by working with them, we'll do a code of conduct report in lieu of making an arrest. That code of conduct report then would be forwarded to Judicial Affairs, and then it is out of the police hands.
So outside of the list that when things are reported, I know President Harvey always talks about the university being very transparent. We try to, put as much information out there as we can. How can parents or students access the daily crime logs on our campus?
So, of course, with the daily crime log, you can come in person to our police headquarters and request to inspect our daily crime log. We ask that if you want to look at our daily crime log, that you do not take pictures of it and that you do not remove it from police headquarters. So it helps to know the time frame that you want to inspect, and a shorter period, because we do keep readily accessible 90 days of our reported criminal offenses in a hard copy file. Anything beyond that may take us a little longer because it's digitized and we have to pull it up. And a lot of times we don't have the manpower where they can just stop what they're doing in dispatch to do that. But any person, even a person who is not directly affiliated with the university, can request to see our daily crime logs, and we will make it available for inspection.
Okay, Lieutenant Stewart, that's all that we have to talk about. So now we're going to open it back up in the same format. Just let the parents and students ask some live questions. Okay.
Outstanding.
All right. So right now we see Ms. Scott. Ready?
Yes, I have a quick question. Prior to my daughter started doing her college searches, I looked at the different campuses and did research in regards to, I guess, the safety of them. And I had read in regards to like the call boxes and the blue light, I guess, throughout the campus on Hampton, there was complaints that they weren't functioning at times. So I was wondering, is there some type of do you like every month or every 3 months or whatever, someone goes out and confirms that all of the boxes are working properly, the call box, the lights are being able to turn on and stuff of that nature? Because it seems like there was a complaint about that that I saw online.
Yes, that's a very good question. They are fully functional. They are on a maintenance schedule. Our director of physical security ensures from time to time. Now, I don't know exactly what his schedule is, but he does make sure on a regular basis, that the emergency call boxes are frequently tested to make sure that they are functioning correctly. We've since upgraded our emergency call box because at one time we could no longer get the batteries. They were obsolete. And so we were forced to upgrade our emergency call boxes to a better product. And so, yes, we do have it on a maintenance schedule where it is checked frequently to make sure that they are functioning.
Is there any type of buddy system, like for the incoming freshmen that, they don't know people and stuff of that nature? They may be, I guess, at a class late in the evening or coming from the library. Is there in some type of, I guess, club or organization that offers, like, if you contact them, they're willing to walk a student back to their dorm?
In terms of a buddy system, the university police department do not particularly have anything in place. However, we do encourage students that if they're out late, say they're coming from our 24-hour library study room and they don't feel safe walking back to their residence hall by themselves, they can call our dispatch communication center and ask if it's possible to have a mobile unit or one of the security officers in that general area so that we can have eyes on them as they're traveling. Now, with the Live Safe mobile app, if I could add, it has a feature in there called Safe Walk, where they can have the app select someone from their contact list, actually watch them travel through the campus. And they can notify us on their behalf as well.
Oh, thank you for letting me know.
Yes. And also here at Hampton University, our student leadership program always promotes Don't Walk Alone. All freshmen, they will go through a training in the fall during new student orientation. And we just always promote it as well as just, so that they know in advance never to really walk alone, always notify. We do promote people turning on their locations on their iPhone so that your parents will kind of know to say, hey, mom, going from MLK back to the residence hall, that type of thing. So we definitely do promote that. However, I will say one of the good upgrades that they've done over this past year during COVID is our campus is very well lit at night.
Yes, we are.
These do black lights, it's almost brighter than a street light. But our campus is very lit. The call boxes illuminate bright blue where you will see them from a distance. If something needs to happen, you know where to run, and they are marked even bright color during the daytime if something happens. So, and when they take campus tours, we do point these boxes out and promote that as well to use if need be. All right, any more questions for Lieutenant Stewart? Okay, Mr. Humphreys, I see you.
Yes, so in terms of classifications in numbers, how many events would you say you've had, say, in the prior full school year where you've classified them as a minor infraction, major, or say a major physical incident where there was an assault that occurred?
Our annual security report that is published every year, October 1, and uploaded to our page on the university website can give you some very clear numbers, better than my memory can. When I analyze crime stats, both on campus and off campus, what is particular to our environment actually is the underage drinking, instances of larceny thefts, where they're taking someone's laptop or they took somebody's iPhone. Few assaults. Those numbers are usually single digit numbers. But the annual security report shows you 3 years of our crime stats, and it would give you some more precise numbers. I don't want to give you guesses and estimations. I'd rather you see the actual numbers that are captured throughout the year over a 3-year period.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, and we got to go back because I just see Layla has her hand back up. She is the young lady that asked about the internship.
Yes.
Layla, was that your question you were about to ask? I'm sorry.
What am I? Yes.
Okay.
Hello, Layla. How you doing?
Good.
Very good. So the Hampton University Police Department welcome students who are interested in interning for our department. There is a application process that you go through with your department chair as well as your professor, and then once that is received by the chief of police, then we screen that application and set up an interview with you. And yes, we welcome students to come and intern with the police department and see the background workings of what makes a police department function.
All right. Lieutenant Stewart,
Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Thank you for joining us on today. Thank you all as well. I hope this information has been very beneficial to you. This will conclude this particular session. And at 7 p.m., join me back. It would be my segment with student activities, as well as my boss, Mr. Azel Harrell, who is the director of student activities. And we're going to go over all things events and clubs and organizations, and just tell everybody what our upcoming school year is going to look like post-COVID-19. So we're really excited about a lot of our events. So we hope that you all join us to hear that particular segment as well. But seeing no more questions, thank you all so much for joining us and continuing to support, and we look forward to seeing you in the fall.
Thank you.
Bye.